Again, it's a red skin.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back. In this video we're going to build an Instagram hashtag generator in Python. Now actually this is just going to be a graphical user interface tool that you can use for all sorts of social networks, so Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Let me show you what this is going to look like. In the end, I actually used this for myself. I wrote it for myself for my Instagram account. The basic idea is the following. We have this graphical user interface. It's also responsive. We're going to talk about this today as well. And I have a bunch of hashtags here on the left. And let's say now I produce a new Instagram post about programming, data science, and Linux in some way. Now, what I want to do is I want to use a couple of hashtags. It's always similar hashtags, but I want to be able to choose this without writing them myself every time. So what I do is I select here these hashtags, for example. Then I also want to have machine learning, data science, AI, and all these Linux hashtags. Now what I do is I press this button. Those are the chosen hashtags. And of course, if I want to remove AI, for example, I press this button. And now what I click is I click on copy to clipboard. And if I now go to Instagram, let's say my notepad now is Instagram. If I go to Instagram, I can just go ahead and say Control V. There you go. And we have all these hashtags here generated. And of course, I can also go ahead and save this. So I can click on Save Hashtags. I can go to the desktop and I can say mytags.text. I can close the program. I can run it again, and I can load the hashtags like that. So this is what we're going to build today. We're going to use PyQt5 to build it, and we're going to get started with the Qt Designer. If this is the first PyQt5 tutorial that you're watching, I recommend you watch my beginner course on PyQt5 GUI development, because today we're going to talk a little bit about more advanced stuff like tree views, list views, and so on, and also layouts. Now I'm going to have some problems here with the UI. I guess I always have some problems. I think what we need to do first is we need to add a vertical layout. We want to keep this responsive, so we're going to add a vertical layout. We're going to right click and we're going to say layout vertically. And how did I do this? I think I added another vertical layout, or actually maybe a horizontal layout is enough. And then we're going to add a button at the bottom. There you go, this works. And here we have a horizontal layout. So in that horizontal layout, we want to have two vertical layouts. Like that. And now what I want to do is I want to add a button here. I want to add a button here. I want to add a label here. A label here. And now I want to add a list view and a tree view. So the tree view is going to be here. And the list view is going to be here. Come on. There you go. Actually, it worked fine. Okay. So in the menu, we're going to have file. We're going to have a load. And we're going to have actually save and load. Okay, now I messed up the names here. Action save and action load without the 2. There you go. Then we're going to say all hashtags selected, hashtags like that. Here we're going to have it like that. Here we're going to have it like that. And here we're going to say copy to clipboard. Now we need to change the font sizes. We're going to change everything to 14, I guess. There you go. Here as well. Can I select multiple? Oh, I can. And of course here we're going to also do the same thing for the list and tree view, but here we're going to go with 12. And one thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we can select multiple items, not only one item. So we're going to click on both of them using Control. We're going to scroll down here to Abstract Item View, and we're going to go to Selection Mode, and from Single Selection, we're going to change to Extended Selection. Let's save this and go to the desktop. Hashtag GUI.ui. And now what we want to do is we want to drag this into our development directory, and then we're going to create a new main.py file here. So main.py, and all we need to do now is we need to do the usual stuff. By the way, if you don't have pyqt5 installed, you say pip install pyqt5 like that, and then we say from pyqt5.qt widgets import everything, then from pyqt5.qt GUI import everything, or actually let's just import q font because we don't need anything else. From pyqt5 import UIC, this is what we're going to use to load the graphical user interface, and then from pyqt5.qt itself, we're going to import the Q standard item model, and the Q standard item. The idea behind those two things is that in list views and tree views, we cannot just add elements as strings or objects. We need to create an item model, and then we need to add items to that item model, and then we need to set to that tree view the item model and so on. We're going to see that in a second. Now let's go ahead and create or before we do that, we need to also import JSON, and we need to import pickle. Why do we need to import JSON? We need to import JSON because we're going to have the hashtags in a JSON format. So if I go here to my prepared project, I'm going to copy this. This is the file that we're going to use. Now, this is one file that you can use. You can use whatever you want. The basic structure is we have curly brackets, we have tags, so programming here, for example, as a key, and then a list of strings that are the hashtags. Here we have memes, humor, list, machine learning, list, and so on. So for those of you who are completely for those of you for whom it's too difficult to understand JSON, we're going to just say test.json. And the basic idea is we have here the dictionary with category, list, #1, #2, and so on. Then category 2, another list, and so on. This is how you create your hashtag JSON file. This is what we're going to load into the script, and pickle is going to be just for the serialization. So let's create a myGUI class. We're going to extend from main window. We're going to have a basic constructor. We're going to call super myGUI self .init. And I'm going to say uic.loadUI from the UI file, from hashtag GUI.UI self, and then self.show, I guess. Yeah, the rest we're going to do after that. Down at the end, we're going to say app equals Q application with empty list. Window is going to be myGUI, and then app.exec_. What you see, by the way, there is GitHub Copilot. Don't be confused. And now this is the graphical user interface. You can see it works. Yeah, no functionality yet, but this is the graphical user interface. What we want to do first is want to set a title. We want to say self.set window title neural 9 hashtag generator or manager, whatever you want to call it. And then we want to initialize a dictionary with the JSON content. So we want to say self.hashtag_dict is going to be JSON load open, not hashtag dict.json, but hashtags.json. And then we want to call a function called self_init tree view, which we need to write, of course, because we don't have it. So def init tree view, and what we want to do is want to get from this dictionary all the content, and we want to render it into the tree view. Shouldn't be too complicated. We essentially say self.treeview dot set. We need to set the header to invisible. By the way, we can access tree view because we have it in the Qt designer. So if I click on this, you can see here the object name is, this is actually a list view right now. This is a tree view, this is a list view, and these object names can be used in Python. So self.tree view is going to be set header to hidden true, just so that we don't see any root elements that are useless. And then we're going to define the model. So self.tree model is going to be a new Q standard item model, and then self.tree view is going to get that model as its model. So set model to self.tree model, and then we're going to say root node of that thing is going to be self.tree model.invisible root item. And now we're going to fill that up with the content. So we're going to say for the category that we have in self hashtag dig.keys, we're going to say the category item. Remember, we need to turn everything into an item. So the category item is going to be a Q standard item with category. And then we're going to say for hashtag in self hashtag dig category. We're going to create a hashtag, or actually we don't need to create an extra object for that, category item dot append row. We're going to append to that a new Q standard item from hashtag. Let me just close this here. And then we're going to say root node append row category item. That's it. And after that, last but not least, self.tree view is going to be expanded. So expand all by default. We don't want it to be collapsed. So if I run this now, we should already see that there is some content in the tree view. There you go. If we don't use expand all in the end, we're going to have it like that. We don't want to have it like that. All right, so this works. We're now going to add, we're now going to connect the UI elements. So we're going to say what happened there. We're going to say self.selected is going to be an empty list by default. And then we're going to work with the buttons. Now we need to see what the buttons are named. Push button 2 is this one, push button 3 is this one, and push button is this one. Okay. So self push button 2 dot clicked dot connect to self dot select, or maybe choose selected. Then push button 3 self dot remove selected, and push button 1 is going to be self dot copy to clipboard. This should work platform independently, by the way, because it's done by Qt or via Qt. And then we're going to say action load dot triggered dot connect self dot load hashtags. And action save is going to be self dot save hashtags. All right, that should be it. All we need to do now is we need to implement all these functions. So we're going to say def, and we're going to start with choose selected. What we want to do here is, this is very important, we don't want to select everything. We don't want to choose everything. We want to choose only the hashtags, not the categories. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if the length of the self.treeview.selected indexes, if the length of that is not 0, so if there is a selection, we're going to check for a couple of other things. We're going to say for index in these selected indexes, we're going to see if that index has a valid parent. So if it's a hashtag, because the hashtags have as the parent the category. The categories don't have a parent. So if the parent is valid, we're going to say if the index data is not already part of selected, then we're going to add it. So then we're going to say self.selected.append index data, and then self.selected Did we define a list model, by the way? We didn't define a list model, right? Self.list model equals QStandard item model, self.list view dot set model, self list model, and then we're going to say self list model dot append row QStandard item, QStandard item index data. What's happening here? All right, QStandard item index data. Does this work? Should work. Let's comment out real quick all the stuff that we don't have yet. Oh, I had caps lock on. That's the problem. All right. So let's comment all these out. And, sorry, run this. Okay, we had a problem. What was the problem here? Choose selected if length. Where did we mess up something? Oh, I removed this down here. There you go. Okay, so now it should work if I select a couple of things. There you go. If I select things that are already in there, nothing new is added, only the new stuff is added. So there you go. Also, if let's restart this. If I choose categories, they should not be added because they have no parent. So this doesn't work. And if I select like these three, memes and humor should not go to the right. There you go. Works. Let's implement the remove selected. Def remove selected. Now, this is actually not too complicated. We need to try. I don't know why we need to try. I think I did that only. Do we actually need to try? No, I think this was one of the things that I didn't remove from my prepared code, even though it's not really important. So what we want to see is we want to see if the length of the selected item from the list view this time, because we add to the list view and we remove from the list view. So if it's not equal to 0, of course, this is self. If we have something selected, we're just going to say for index in the selected indexes. We're going to say self.selected.remove index.data and self.listModel.remove row index.row. That should be it. Now let's go ahead and comment this or uncomment this. And now if I have this and if I have this, we have a problem. Why is that? Okay, let's see what the problem is. There you go. Let's remove something. List remove X not in list. What is the problem here? I had this problem already. I think this was a UI. Oh no, I know what I did. The problem is, this is actually quite interesting. When we remove, we need to remove in reversed order, because what happens is, I think this should not be a problem if I just remove a single element. So if I remove this, it works. If I remove this, it works. The problem is that when I select multiple things, the order is messed up and not everything is removed. This can be solved quite easily by just saying for index in reversed sorted, and then this is no longer a problem. So I can actually remove this, and this should work now. There you go. Works. All right. Now what we need is we need to do the copy to clipboard. This is actually quite simple. Def copy to clipboard. This is done via PyQt5. So we're going to say if length of self-selected is not equal to 0, because then we don't want to copy anything. We're going to say clipboard equals QApplication.clipboard. And then we're going to just set the text of the clipboard to the following thing: a hashtag in the beginning plus a hashtag with a space before that. We're going to join on that character everything that's selected. There you go. That's it. This is actually it. So everything should work except for the saving and loading. Let's run this. Push button. Oh, of course we don't have push button 1. There you go. So now if I say copy and I go to Notepad, there you go. Works. All right, last but not least, we're going to go with the open and save. So def save selected. Or actually, did we call it save hashtags? Yeah. Save hashtags is going to use the qfile.log. So we're going to say file name and confirmed. This is going to be qfile.log get save file name, save hashtags, and we're not going to use .pickle here in the end. We're going to use tag file, and I hope I'm not blocking this here. I am. There you go. We're going to call qfile.log get save file name, save self save hashtags, empty string, and then tag file, and not .pickle, but sorry, we're going to add here .tags, like that. All right, and all we need to do is we need to check if it was confirmed. So if the user actually wanted to save this, and then we're going to say with open file name, write bytes as f, and then pickle dot dump self-selected into f. This is quite simple. Now, when we load it, we need to do something more, because we need to also, saving the selected is easy, but when we load them, we also need to load the selected list into the item model. So we need to say self load hashtags self. And in here, we're going to now say again, file name confirmed equals get file qfile.log get open file name, load hashtags, tag file tags. GitHub Copilot doing everything here for me. Repetitive stuff. Again, if confirmed, what we want to do here is want to say, okay, with open file name, read bytes as f, self.selected is going to be pickle load f, but the problem now is we need to also load all of this into the item model. So self.list model is going to be Q standard item model. We're going to create a new one. And we're going to say for tag that we have in self.selected, we're going to say self.list model.append row Q standard item of the tag, and then self.list view is going to have a new model, this self.list model. All right, that is actually the whole application. Now, of course, I need to uncomment these two. But besides that, this is the exact same thing that I showed you in the preview. So let's remove a couple of things. Let's copy these to the clipboard. There you go. Now let's save them. Let's close this, run this again. Load. There you go. And we should also actually be able to load them by tags. There you go. All right, so this is how you build a simple Instagram hashtag managing tool in Python. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed and hope you learned something. If so, let me know by hitting a like button and leaving a comment in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to not miss a single future video for free. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video, and bye.